Close your eyes and picture the world 2,500 years ago. The year is 525 BCE. Empires rise and fall, kings dream of conquest, and civilizations carve their names into the stone of history. To the west, along the winding waters of the Nile River, lies Egypt, one of the world's oldest kingdoms. For nearly 3,000 years, Egypt has thrived, building pyramids that pierce the sky, temples that shine with gold, and a culture bound tightly to the gods. In Egypt, everything is sacred. The river itself is a god. The sun is a god. Even animals walk as symbols of the divine: the ibis, the falcon, the jackal, and above all, the cat. Cats are not just pets. They are guardians, protectors, the living image of the goddess Bastet. To harm a cat, even by accident, is a terrible crime, punishable by death. Now, look to the east. Beyond deserts and mountains rises another power, Persia, a young but mighty empire built by Cyrus the Great. His son, Cambyses II, now sits on the throne, ambitious, cunning, determined to prove himself greater than his father. And Cambyses has set his eyes on Egypt, not just for conquest, but for glory, for the gold of temples, for the prestige of ruling a land so ancient that even Persians feel like newcomers in comparison. But Cambyses will not just use soldiers and spears. He will use something far more dangerous: knowledge of his enemy's soul. The stage is set. Two civilizations, one ancient and proud, the other ambitious and rising. Their clash will decide the future of Egypt, and it will all come down to the most unexpected of weapons. Not the sword, not the spear, but the cat. After the death of Cyrus the Great, his son Cambyses II inherited not just an empire, but also his father's unfinished dreams. Cyrus had conquered Babylon, Lydia, Media, vast lands, but Egypt had remained out of reach. To Cambyses, seizing Egypt would prove him a worthy successor. Egypt at this time was vulnerable. Pharaoh Psamtik III, young and inexperienced, sat on the throne. His army relied on mercenaries, his kingdom on shaky ground. Cambyses knew this. He built alliances. He bribed, he schemed. When the time came, Egypt would stand more alone than it realized. Now picture it: tens of thousands of Persian soldiers crossing the harsh Sinai desert. The ground shakes beneath boots and chariots. Spears gleam in the sunlight. But Cambyses is not reckless. He knows Egypt fights with the strength of faith as much as weapons. He searches for a way to strike deeper, at the heart, not just the body. And then he learns a truth: the Egyptians' unshakable reverence for animals, especially the cat. To Cambyses, ruthless and clever, this is not a curiosity, it is an opportunity. And so, as the Persian army approaches Pelusium, the very gateway to Egypt, he crafts his most unthinkable plan. The Egyptians gather their forces, drums echo from the walls, bows are drawn, spears are raised. But Cambyses smiles, because he knows something the Egyptians cannot fight without betraying their own gods. The battle will not be won by strength, it will be won by cats. At Pelusium, Egypt's frontier fortress, the two armies finally meet. The Egyptians stand ready, shields raised, spears gleaming in the sun. Their fortress walls bristle with archers, their drums thunder across the sands. But across the battlefield, the Persians wait, silent, motionless. And at their head, Cambyses, calm upon his horse, watching, for he carries a secret. Suddenly, the Persians lift their shields, painted upon them the image of cats. And not only that, before their lines march animals, cats, dogs, ibises, goats, sacred symbols of Egypt, glowing in the desert light. The Egyptians see and they freeze. An archer trembles, his arrow slipping from his grasp. For to strike a cat is to strike Bastet herself. Terror spreads through the ranks. Spears lower, bows fall limp. Fear moves faster than any weapon. The fortress of Pelusium cracks beneath the assault. Its walls splinter, its gates shudder. Defenders scatter before the storm. Persian banners rise over the broken towers. Egypt's proud frontier has fallen. The animals of Bastet, once protectors of Egypt, now lead her enemies to victory. It is not the sword, it is not the spear, it is the cat that wins the day. Pharaoh Psamtik III, once ruler of Egypt, is captured. He is dragged before Cambyses, conqueror, now master of Egypt. Cambyses sits coldly, the fate of Egypt in his hands. The pharaoh's spirit breaks beneath humiliation. The banners of Persia rise above Memphis, above the temples, above Egypt itself. The Nile flows on, carrying whispers of defeat. For the people of Egypt, it is unthinkable. Their gods, their guardians, turned against them. The land of pyramids, once unconquered, bows before Persia. Was it brilliance or blasphemy? Cambyses had won by turning Egypt's soul against itself. The sword had failed. The spear had failed. But knowledge had conquered. Egypt's destiny had shifted. A civilization 3,000 years old, humbled in a single battle. So what do we learn from Pelusium? It is not just a curious tale, it is one of the first great examples of psychological warfare. The Persians understood their enemy's heart and turned faith into a weapon. History is full of such moments, rumors that break armies, tricks that win battles before swords ever clash. Pelusium shows us that wars are fought not only on fields, but in minds. For the Egyptians, the cat was sacred, a creature of love, comfort, and divine power. Their devotion lasted centuries. Even today, when we think of ancient Egypt, we picture cats beside pyramids. That same devotion became their downfall. And so, Pelusium remains one of the strangest battles ever fought. A reminder that human belief, the very thing that makes us strong, can also make us vulnerable. A battle where the fate of an empire was decided, not by swords, not by spears, but by cats.